Hey everybody, Cptn.Canuck here, and this week I was planning on doing a Will China Ever Win TI Again video. And I started getting into it, and I was thinking about it a lot, and I started doing some of my research, and I was looking at all the past TIs, and I was looking at the winners and the finalists, and as I thought about this more, my headspace shifted a little bit more towards, will Europe ever lose again? Now, I'm sure you guys know the trends. In the last 6 TIs, there's only been 3 final appearances by a Chinese team. No Chinese team has won since Wings at TI 6, when there was the pattern of West versus China, West, China, West, China, all the way through those first 6 TIs. Now, it's no secret that Europe is a powerhouse for esports, and looking at Counter-Strike, you can see that they've already gone this direction. The nearest upcoming major in Counter-Strike has 18 slots for Europe, 4 for North America, and 2 for Asia Pacific. Everything has completely centralized in that ecosystem. And I think part of that is the fact that Valve has kind of propped up the international communities in Dota to try to keep the international. In CS, they've let that kind of open up and let the free market kind of centralize, and because a lot of the tournament organizing groups like ESL, DreamHack, etc. are based in Europe, you've seen that scene flourish, whereas others have fallen out of favor. Now, as I was comparing this to China, I was thinking, while China has a greater population density, they also have greater levels of income inequality, and they have youth gaming curfews that keep people from gaming as much as they might otherwise. Now, I know there's ways around it. People use VPNs and stuff like that, but really, the youth in China are not gaming as much as they could be otherwise if they were elsewhere. And that kind of leads me into a lot of the unique factors that make Europe a powerhouse for esports. I think, a big one is the fact that they're central to the rest of the world. They can scrim almost anybody with reasonable ping. Maybe not South America, maybe not Southeast Asia, but those are the furthest regions away, and they're also coincidentally the weakest. North America, not too bad. Eastern Europe, China even isn't too bad. MENA region, which is actually upcoming, they've got a lot of that connection there. A Central European team can basically scrim anybody. Another factor is just development during youth. I think a big part of what informs a country's esports skill is what their youth can afford to do. North America has just gotten more and more and more expensive over the years, particularly college, and social safety nets have been slowly stripped away, whereas in Europe, those things are very lively. Even though, you should be studying when you're at college, but a lot of people find their love for esports procrastinating from their college work. And if college costs you next to nothing, like it does in a lot of Nordic countries, it's a lot easier to just say, hey, screw this, I'm going to go play video games. So I think some of those social safety nets really help the European esports scene grow. The final factor that I wanted to talk about was like the availability of venues for major events. I worked for a company that partnered with ESL for a while there, and I was in one of the VIP suites talking with some of the ESL executives, kind of going over why we were in Katowice in Poland. I was talking about how weird it was that I was walking around, and this was like an old mining town. They had these big rigs, they had a mining museum. The explanation I got was that the city was trying to modernize. They were trying to entice a tech industry to come there. So they built this giant convention center, this giant arena, and then they invited all of these tech conventions to come there, and they had the Intel Extreme Masters. They're trying to get Intel, Microsoft, ESL, whatever, to build offices around them so that they can modernize and get into the 21st century. So these events are super cheap and affordable to run. Plenty of cities throughout Europe kind of have the same mindset and have these spaces where you can bring people in from not too far away. It's 2 hours to drive from another country and come for this great event. Whereas if you're going to do that in North America, A, you're going to have a hard time finding a town that won't cost you an arm and a leg. But B, if you do, they're going to be in the middle of nowhere where you can't get to anywhere. There's no airports nearby. There's no roads nearby. Like, it's just out in the backwater nowhere. So I think Europe has a real strength there, and that really promotes the youth getting into esports, being aspirational about it, and then really wanting to play more. Now, Dota's seeing a lot of top players shift from other regions to Europe to keep up with the competition. The competition has just grown there, and you've seen this. I talked about this in the last video with Snaking and Gunnar and Quinn all kind of mingling with Europe to try to get on top of the competition there. I know for a fact that Arteezy and Owie, who live in Vancouver where I am, would play on ping to Europe to stay up with the competition when they were at their peaks. So playing on 200 ping to Europe is almost preferable to playing in the shit North American pubs. Now, I think with the DPC eliminated this year, we're going to see a lot more of the centralization in Europe. I think the DPC kind of allowed these leagues to stay very separated, stay very regional, and Valve kind of enforced that spread of slots. But with no DPC this year, I think we're going to see these third-party organizers like ESL, WePlay, start to come back into the mix. And because they're centered in Europe, we're going to see more and more events happening there. The teams that are there are going to have cheaper travel costs, and the competition is going to rise in that region while it falls in others. I think by this time next year, we're looking at a TI that might have half of its teams being from Eastern or Western Europe. And I don't think that's an unreasonable prediction. We'll have to see what plays out, but I really, looking into this, I thought, China, let's dump on that and kind of see what story we can uncover there. And really the story became, holy shit, Europe is the place to be for esports right now. If you're in Germany, you're having a great time. Hell, Sweden, Norway, whatever. These are the spots to be if you want to be in esports. And I think this is just going to snowball as the years go on unless Valve kind of enforces this international thing a little bit more. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Is Europe just too powerful? Should Valve keep these regions spread out? Should they kind of enforce this international meta for Dota? Or should they just let it go and see what happens? Should they let it grow in this one region like it has in Counter-Strike? Should they let the next major have 18 European slots and only 6 for the rest of the world? Let me know your thoughts down below, and drop a like and subscribe. You're all beautiful, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.